Secretary.
Please come in and be seated. Could you have the witness stand up? Mr. Chilio, could you come? Can we all be seated?
Okay, I have a couple pictures I want to show you for clarity.
State's Exhibit 21 is marked for identification.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 15 and State's Exhibit 21. Okay, what does State's Exhibit 21 depict?
That is in the back of Otto Miller Hall near the machine shop.
And does that show both doors, the garage door and the key card door?
I don't see the garage door. Yeah, I don't see the garage door in here unless it's blended in.
Okay, it is hard to see on the color copy.
Yeah.
And look at number 15, please.
Mhm.
Is that basically a straight-on view of where you were?
Yeah, that's right near where I was, yeah.
Okay. Offer 15 and 21. No objection.
15 and 21 are admitted.
Okay, so we're looking at number 21. Is this the back of Otto Miller?
It is.
All right, and this door is what type of door? The glass doors?
Yeah, it looks like the key card entrance
Okay.
area.
And then down here, just from positioning, what door would that be? Do you know?
That looks like the door that is personnel entrance. I don't think you can get into that
Okay.
if you're a student.
Okay, and the garage door would be off to the right, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, oops. Okay, this is number 15, which you indicated was a straight-on view of where you were. This is Otto Miller back here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the tall bush that we were looking at from the other end.
Mm-hmm.
So would you have been standing on the sidewalk in this area,
Around that area.
below the bush?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I'm also going to offer State's Exhibit 20, which is the 911 tape.
No objection.
It's admitted?
May I publish?
Yes.
What do you report? Hello? Hello? This is 911.
Hello?
Hi, this is the police.
I'm at Seattle Pacific University. There's a man with a gun and he has shot a child in the head.
Can you tell me where they're at?
Seattle Pacific University, I don't know.
Do you know where this guy is?
He's on the campus. He's in the Auto Miller Hall building.
Which Automobile Hall?
Yes.
Auto Miller Hall, okay.
Yes.
Okay, we have a lot of people going out there. Was this a white guy in his 30s with dark hair, glasses, and a plaid shirt?
Yes.
Okay. What's your last name?
C-U-D-U-R-I-L-O is an asterisk.
And your first name?
Sophie.
Are you hurt at all?
No.
Okay. What's your phone number?
206-856-25.
Okay, we've got a lot of police on the way out there. If you have any change, you call us back, okay?
Okay. Both?
They're on the way. I don't know where they're at. They're getting there. Hey, you saw this guy last outside of the Auto Miller building? How long ago?
Who's that?
Was he in front of the building?
He was outside of the building.
Are you in a safe spot?
No, we can't lock the door though.
Okay. Keep yourself in a safe spot. If he comes around, just play quiet. We got lots of police out there. And I'll let you go. Bye-bye.
Is there a reason why you were talking so low?
We didn't know where he was, and we had heard people walking around the second floor, and we didn't know if that was him or someone else.
Okay. And also at the beginning of that tape, you talk about a child being shot.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
It was Paul, and he was a child, so,
Okay.
and he was shot, so.
Okay.
State's Exhibit number 22 is marked for identification.
I believe you identified this picture as being of Paul Lee, is that correct?
Yeah.
For 22.
No objection.
It's admitted.
I have no further questions, thank you.
Cross-examination.
No, Your Honor.
All right, you're all done. Thank you.
Thank you.
State what we're calling Thomas Fowler.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I swear.
Please be seated.
Right up to the left chair there, Paul. Could you tell us your name and spell your first and last name?
Thomas Medrano Fowler Jr. THOMAS FOWLER.
And where do you live?
I live in Ballard at 6118 9th Avenue Northwest.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
What kind of job do you have?
I have a temp job as a civil engineer with the City of Seattle.
Did you attend Seattle Pacific University?
Yes, I did.
And what did you major in?
I majored in physics.
As a result of that, did you spend a lot of time in Otto Miller Hall?
Yes, I did. I spent most of my time there.
Okay. What year did you graduate?
Graduated 2015, returned in 2016 to finish up a class to obtain my degree.
I'd like to direct your attention to June 5th of 2014. You remember that day?
Yes, I do.
Okay, at about 3:20 in the afternoon, can you tell us where you were at that time?
I was on the corner of Otto Miller Hall talking with my friend,
And who was your friend?
Sophie.
And where did you come from?
I came from the canal where I was chatting with my friends after class.
And when you talked to Sophie, did you just run into her?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember which friends you were walking back with?
I was walking back with Daniel and El Bethel.
El Bethel?
Yes.
Okay. What happened as you were walking back? Did the three of you stay together when you ran into Sophie, or how did that work?
We ran into Sophie and El Bethel, and Daniel proceeded into Otto Miller Hall to retrieve El Bethel's belongings.
And you stayed outside with Sophie?
Yes, I did.
What were you talking about?
We were talking about how Sophie should pursue a double major in physics and mechanical engineering, and the person she should talk to about that.
Okay. And at some point, how long would you say that you talked before something sort of out of the ordinary happened?
Approximately 10 minutes.
So that would put it about 3:30.
Correct.
Can you tell us what happened to start that was out of the ordinary?
I saw a white truck pull up, and it was parked on the side of Royal Rome Pavilion.
And where is Royal Rome Pavilion compared to Otto Miller Hall?
It is across the street.
I'm going to show you what's been entered as State's Exhibit 2. You can get your bearings. And number 18 is Otto Miller Hall.
Correct.
So where would it be on this map? What number would Royal Rome be?
It would be 18.
Okay. I'm sorry. If 18 is Otto Miller Hall, is 49 the Royal Rome Pavilion?
No, it is 22.
It is 22. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. There's a reason why I'm not an engineer. Okay. So it's 22, and it's directly
Correct.
across the street.
On the east side.
On the east side. Okay. And when you saw the truck pull up, did something draw your attention to it?
Not at the moment.
What was it like traffic-wise that day? Were there a lot of cars out, a lot of students?
We were on a side street, so I was not able to get a good handle on how heavy traffic flow was.
Okay, but you did notice that truck.
Correct.
Okay. Any particular reason?
No, it's just out of my peripherals.
State's Exhibit number 23 is marked for identification.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 23. Does that appear to be the truck that you saw?
Correct.
Okay. Offer 23.
No objection.
Submitted.
I will turn this meeting to waiting for it to come on. All right. When you saw the truck pull up, were you continuing to talk to Sophie at that point?
Correct.
What happened then?
The suspect got out of the truck and walked across the street.
Okay. And when you say the suspect, can you describe the man that you're talking about?
He's sitting right there.
Okay. And you're pointing to the gentleman next to defense
Correct.
counsel? When he got out of the truck, did you notice anything about him?
He had something in his hand, and that's about it, and then he continued to walk across the street.
Okay. Could you tell what it was at that point in his hand?
No, I could not.
What happened then?
He proceeded to walk towards Sophie and I, and at that point I noticed him.
Okay. And was there anybody else on the sidewalk or the street with you?
No.
At some point, did someone else approach you as well?
Yes.
And who was that?
Paulie.
Paul Lee? Okay. And from what direction was he coming?
He came from the north, and he was approaching us.
Okay. And could you tell if he was talking with anybody? Was he alone?
No, he had headphones on.
Okay. So, when the defendant crossed the street, could you tell where he was headed?
No.
Okay. What happened then?
It appeared he was just walking around.
And at that point, you still couldn't tell what was in his hand?
Correct.
Was there anything to cause you alarm at that moment?
Not at that moment.
Okay. What happened next?
We were still talking. I was still talking with Sophie, and he got closer and closer to us, and that's when Paulie got in between.
And tell us about that. How were you positioned compared to Paul?
I was standing straight, just talking to Sophie, and Paulie got between myself and the suspect, and at that point, that's when the suspect got into firing position.
Okay.
Yelled freeze.
Let's stop for a second. When Paul Lee got between you and the man you're calling the suspect, was he just walking by? He just happened to be
Yes.
doing that?
Yep.
So he was not engaging the man at all?
No.
He still had his headphones on?
Correct.
Okay. And what did the man do then?
He got into firing position.
And what is that?
It's when you are about ready to fire your weapon.
Okay, can you describe what that looked like? Okay, and for the record, you're holding up both hands
Correct.
about shoulder level.
Right.
Okay, and what happened then?
He yelled freeze, and Paul Lee turned around, and that's when he pulled the trigger.
And when he yelled freeze, did you have a sense of what did you think was happening?
I had no idea what was happening at that point in time.
Okay. When Paul Lee turned around, could you see what the expression was on his face?
No.
What did you think?
I didn't think anything of it at the moment.
Okay. When he yelled freeze and had the gun out, were you even aware that it was a gun, or was this happening too fast? At that
It
point?
was happening quite fast.
Okay. So, did you say that he got in fire position, said freeze, and then what happened?
And then he pulled the trigger.
And did Paul still have his headphones on?
Yes, he did.
Could you tell if Paul was responding to hearing him say freeze?
He heard something because he did turn around.
Did you see the shot or hear it?
I heard it.
And what happened to Paul?
He immediately fell to the ground and began bleeding profusely
From where?
all over his body.
What happened then?
I had my ears ringing, and I ran to Otto Miller along the backside.
Okay. How far away was Mr. Ybarra from Mr. Lee when he shot?
I would say at least approximately 10 feet.
Okay. And how far away would he have been from you at that point?
At least 20.
Okay. So, with Paul between you and him, did you at that moment, when you heard the shot and saw Paul fall, were you aware that you had been injured at all?
I was not aware.
Okay. You didn't feel anything at that moment?
I did not.
Okay. So, when you ran around the backside of Otto Miller, where were you running?
I was running to the machine shop
Okay. And what was the point of going to the machine shop?
to get to a safe place and alert everyone inside that there was an active shooter.
Any reason why you just didn't run in the front doors of the building?
No reason.
And was Sophie with you?
With me where?
Running toward the machine shop?
I believe he was behind me.
Okay. When you got to the machine shop, what did you do?
I told everyone in there that someone just got shot outside and to lock down and to call the police.
And what happened then? Who else was in there?
Jonathan and a few other people.
Okay. Was there Chris Howard there?
Yes, there was.
And what did Chris Howard do?
He inspected me, and after that, I do not recall what happened to him.
Okay. Why was he inspecting you?
He noticed that I was injured, and he was at the building at that time,
Okay.
and he wanted to provide assistance.
Okay. Were you bleeding?
Yes, I was.
From where?
From my neck, my chest, and my face.
Okay. Now, Mr. Fowler, when you were bleeding, did you know why?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Were you able to see anything actually on your skin or anything that would tell you what had hit you?
No, only that I had been shot.
Okay. What did you later find out you'd been hit with?
I later found out that it was a shotgun.
And were they pellets?
Yes.
Okay. Did all the pellets penetrate your skin?
Not only the ones that hit me.
Okay. When you were back in the machine shop and they were giving you first aid, did some of the pellets fall off?
I do not recall.
Okay. What happened then?
Jonathan called 911, and that is when he handed the phone to me to speak with the 911 operator.
Okay. Now, where you said you're in your throat, your chest, and your face, is that right?
Correct.
Were you noticing any sort of effect on any of those areas?
In terms of?
Your voice, for example?
No.
Okay. Did you later notice an effect on your voice?
No.
Okay.
None at all.
Did you have anything that made it difficult for you to speak?
No.
You weren't feeling anything at all?
It was just a little swollen, but nothing of concern to my voice.
Okay. Did you go to the hospital?
Yes, I did.
So when you called 911, did you know if the shooter was still in the building?
I did not.
Can you tell me when the suspect was firing the gun, can you describe what his sort of demeanor or what his face looked like?
I didn't get a good look at his face
Okay.
prior to him shooting.
Did you get any sense of anything about him in terms of how he was acting?
No, he was just walking around like a normal person.
Okay. And you recognized him today, right?
Correct.
Okay, so at what point did you see his face enough that you could recognize him today?
I saw him just briefly before he fired.
Okay. So the last thing that you saw of him was what?
Of him shooting.
Of him firing the gun?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, how long did it take for the police to get there?
I would say it probably took them at least 10, maybe 15 minutes.
Okay. And where were you during that time?
I was in the machine shop.
Okay. Were there other people still in there with you?
Yes, there were some people still in the machine shop with me.
Okay. Do you remember mentioning before that when you swallowed, it was uncomfortable for you to swallow?
Just slightly uncomfortable.
Okay. How many times did it turn out that you'd been hit in the neck?
In the neck area, I have 3 pellets.
You say have. Is that current?
Current, yes.
They are still in your neck?
Correct.
Will they stay in your neck?
Yes.
Why is that?
If surgery were to be done, there is the potential possibility that a nerve would be severed and I would suffer permanent nerve damage.
Okay. And how about in your face?
They are still there as well.
How many?
2.
And is that for the same reason that they can't remove those?
No, it's just the doctors opted not to.
Okay. And were you hit anywhere else?
I was hit on the chest and grazed on my left side.
Okay. Did you go to the hospital eventually?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And they treated you there?
Yes.
Is that right? When you were coming out of the machine shop, how was it that you got released from the machine shop, or how did you know the police were there?
One of the school security guards.
Came in?
Yes.
Okay. And about how much time had passed for that? Do you know?
Until I left the building.
Mm-hmm.
Another at least 10 minutes.
Okay. And did you see this individual again?
Yes.
And where did you see him?
He was in the lobby area face down.
And were there people with him?
Yes, there were.
And did you recognize those people as students?
The people that were with him were officers arresting him.
Okay.
State's Exhibit 24 is marked for identification.
I'm going to hand you what's in marked State's Exhibit 24. And ask you if you recognize what's in that photograph.
Yes, I do.
And who is that?
That is me
And where is that?
in Harborview Medical Center.
Offer 24.
No objection.
Submitted.
Okay, Mr. Fowler, I want to show you the picture of the truck that we were talking about. Did you use your degree to make better TV? It doesn't take so long to turn on.
Why don't you stand and stretch?
There we go. That's good. Standing and stretching might be good.
I think stand and stretching.
Sure.
will work out. Okay.
Okay. So is this the white truck that you identified a minute ago?
Correct.
Okay. And where is it parked? What's the building behind it?
That is Royal Brum Pavilion.
That's Royal Brum. Okay. And this is the picture of you in the hospital?
Correct.
Did you have to have surgery or anything like
No,
that?
I did not have any surgery.
Okay. Has it, well, strike that. Did you know Paul Lee before this?
I did not.
And can you tell us what kind of gun it appeared to be to you? Are you familiar with guns at all?
I am not.
Okay, was it a handgun or something bigger?
It was clearly something bigger than that.
Okay, so I think when you demonstrated it a minute ago, you were using two
Correct.
hands to hold it. Is that
Right.
correct? Back up just a moment.
I don't have any further questions, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Fowler, thank you for coming in. Just have a couple of questions for you. Today you described when you saw the shooter, Mr. Ybarra, he got out of the truck, he came across the street and did the shooting.
Right.
And you're trying to be very precise, are you not?
Right.
And in all of your interviews, you've tried to be very precise.
Right.
And I'm going to guess that's your nature as an engineer.
It is.
Okay. Do you remember meeting with me and doing an interview
Yes, I
with
do.
me? Okay. And do you remember telling me that from the time that the truck pulled up until the shooting was about 20 minutes?
Right.
And do you remember telling me that from the time that Mr. Ybarra, the shooter, got out of the car until the shooting was 7 minutes?
Yeah.
And you recall telling me that he was just kind of milling around a little bit
Right.
for 5-6 of those minutes before he came across the street.
Right.
And that's what your recollection is today as well?
Correct.
No good questions, thank you.
Anything else?
No questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fowler. You're welcome. Ms. Pitts?
You have just a moment.
Yes.
And we have quick over.
Members of the jury, it appears that we're finished with witnesses for today. There are a number of witnesses that are scheduled for tomorrow. They even brought in a witness for tomorrow and today to try and use it on time. So they're working with the schedule. Things are moving a little more quickly than anticipated. But again, we anticipate being in session all day tomorrow. So I want to thank you for your attention so far, and I'll excuse you here. Again, please don't read or watch anything about the news coverage of this case, which is going to be pretty much constant throughout the case. Please don't watch or read anything about a case like this. I will see you tomorrow morning. Please be here at about 10 minutes to 9 to begin. Thank you. Please rise for the jury.